Hello and welcome back student. Today we are going to start new chapter, or we can say the new poem. This is a poem student. So we are going to start poem The Mountain and the Squirrel. This is chapter number 3, The Mountain and the Squirrel. Before starting the poem, I just want to tell you something about the poem. The writer of this poem is Ralph Waldo Emerson, and this poem is all about, or we can say the poem is a dialogue. It is a dialogue between mountain and squirrel. The mountain is proud of its towering bigness and looks upon squirrel. The squirrel justifies its existence. It says that God created universe in a very good orderly way after a good deal of thinking. All big or small, rich or poor, have equal quality and definite place. None is superior or inferior. None should be considered as weak and useless. Now let's start the poem. I'll explain you the poem in stanza wise. The poem is divided into 4 stanzas. That means you can count here are 20 lines. And these 20 lines, 16 lines are divided into 4 stanzas. It is actually 20 lines, and these 20 lines totally divided into 4 stanzas. So in first stanza, let's read and I'll explain you. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prig. In the first stanza of this poem, that means the mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prig. In the first stanza of this poem, the speaker begins by stating the basic premises of the poem. There is a mountain and a squirrel, and they got into a fight. It is easy enough to assume a setting for this poem, as the mountain is a location in itself. There are likely forests covering and surrounding it, and many places for the squirrel to live and hide. The poet used the word squirrel. You can see the mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel to describe the fight. This makes it seem less serious. That means squirrel is the word which makes it seem less serious. Then if he had chosen to actually say fight or argument, it is temporary upset to their normally well balanced relationship. That means they were having a normal relationship, and if the mountain use the word here fight or argument, it makes the poem or the content little serious. So he used the word quarrel here to describe the fight between the squirrel and the mountain. Now see the second stanza, student. One replied, "You are doubtless very big, but all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a spear." Again I am repeating it. You are doubtless very big, but all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a spear. In the fifth line, speaker uses one to refer to the squirrel. It is replying to the mountain in a very clear and well-spoken way. He selects his words carefully. The squirrel starts by acknowledging that the mountain is very big. It has a presence the squirrel cannot deny. Additionally, he adds that you, the mountain, are only one of the many things which must be taken in together. The squirrel is attempting to set aside their differences and come to terms with the fact that they will not always get along. One cannot hope to live in peace with every type of being, sentient or not. These objects, creatures, and people all make up a year and a sphere. The world is constructed of the good and the bad, both are equally necessary. Whatever is made in this world, they are equally necessary for life to go on. Through these lines, the squirrel appears to be in a conciliatory mood, but he is steadily insulting the mountain. It is something that he must put up with. Whenever we want to survive in this world, God has made us in a very proper way, very proper manner. So, both good or bad things He has given us, or whatever the quality of good and bad He has given us, are equally necessary for life to go on. Through these lines, the squirrel appears to be in a conciliatory mood. He is steadily insulting the mountain. He is decreasing the reputation of the mountain. It is something that he must put up with the mountain. This is the third stanza of this poem. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place if I am not so large as you. You are not so small as I, and not half so spray I will not deny you make. Again I am repeating it. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place. If I am not so large as you are not so small as I, and not half so spray I will not deny you make. Now, student, in this stanza, the next line, the squirrel lay out his argument. The basis of quarrel is also revealed here. He does not see anything wrong with his occupying of one place on the mountain. Just as the mountain is large with a large role to play, the squirrel is small with an equal role to play. So both must exist. In order to come to terms with the mountain, the squirrel lays out these respective advantages and disadvantages. First, that the mountain is much larger than he is, something he accepts as the truth. But the squirrel is much more spray. It can move quickly from one place to place in a way the mountain never dreamed of. That means that was the good quality of the squirrel, that it can move from place to place very quickly. That was only the dream of mountain, that it could not move from place to place. Now let's read about the fourth stanza, student. A very pretty squirrel track, talents differ, all is well and wisely put. A very pretty squirrel track, talents differ, all is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. Now the squirrel continues on the same track in the next set of lines. The squirrel is attempting to appease the mountain while also showing his own advantages. They are equal in the world, if not in size, speed and abilities. First, he compliments the mountain. This is another slightly backhanded compliment, as the mountain is said to be a pretty squirrel track. The mountain is beautiful and a perfect place for a squirrel to roam. He admits their talents are different. The squirrel admits that their talents are different. The mountain is able to carry forest on its back, but it cannot crack a nut. There is something about its inability to complete such a simple task that lends the ending of the poem as less than forgiving tone. It is clear the squirrel still holds a grudge against the mountain for its attempt to drive the squirrel from its back. It's very clear that the squirrel still holds a grudge against the mountain for its attempt to drive the squirrel from its back.